Hi everyone, put your tinfoil hats on because I'm ranting again. I won't be teaching anything. This video will be a little different. It'll be a video of me whining. It's just my opinion and my frustration. I'm not really sure why this has been on my mind, but the more I read, the more I learn, and every time I meet someone new, I'm convinced everyone cheats, lies, and steals to get rich and stay rich. It's so frustrating. I don't know, I don't think I've ever met a person that's made it on their own. Every time I open Twitter or read a news article, it's someone else making billions with lying, stealing, and getting away with it. What's more annoying is that I made a video last year on how the tax system is made for the rich to get richer. So many comments were people defending the fact that rich people get to skip taxes. They were defending that the middle class subsidizes everyone. So many comments were saying, I don't know what I was talking about, which is hilarious, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a chartered accountant. I've done taxes for clients. Maybe I know what I'm talking about. Maybe I know or have dealt with specific scenarios where families were making millions and using legal tax loopholes to pay extremely low tax. I told you to get your tinfoil hats on. I have my laptop with me, so maybe I'll read some of the headlines and articles and then refer to it. I'll throw them up on the screen as well. Recently, these are just some examples. Recently, Charlie Javis sold her startup to JP Morgan for $175 million, but she faked 90% of her revenue and user count. Chances are she'll get away with it and she'll keep all 50 million or so profit and probably just use the money to do it again, make another 50 or 100 million. I'm not gonna give you the obvious examples of frauds like Elizabeth Holmes or Bernie Madoff. Sure, I could talk about all the US politicians that engage in insider trading and get away with it. Nothing happens to them. They write the rules. They get to keep the money. Like I think Nancy Pelosi, she only earns like $500,000, but she's worth 400 million. Recently, we have the FTX and Alameda scams. They made billions and only one guy's getting in trouble with it. Who knows how much time he'll even do. The Alameda founder, whatever her name is, will sure keep all 100 million or billion of her money in return for snitching. She won't get any time for it. SBF will probably get 2 to 3 years and he'll probably still have tens of millions of dollars waiting for him outside somewhere. I believe he gave his money to his parents. His parents bought like $100 million of property in the Bahamas. Those are more global examples, but here's something closer to home in Ontario. An Ontario union caught their executives paying their personal expenses out of company funds, transferring assets, and even union vehicles to family members. They earned like $150,000 each. So they were in the top 5% of earners in Ontario, I believe. They had personal expenses. They charged the union over $1.5 million. This is not including the company cars they give to their family members. So again, this is more examples of people making a lot of money. Like $150,000 is a lot of money. They were still lying and stealing over $1.5 million. That's just what they've been caught for. And they probably won't do any time for it. I even personally know people who took advantage of the government subsidies during the pandemic, even though they didn't need it. They had their accountant fake their books or reduce their revenue, and people worth millions, people that I know, got free grants or boosts that they didn't need. It's weird. The more people I meet, let's say in high positions, the more I realize nobody got there on their own. No one can do it on their own, which is fine, but I guess it's a little discouraging. I went to a panel called Future Leaders of Real Estate, where youngins like myself got to sit across CEOs of 6 different REITs in Canada. 5 of the 6 panel members got their start by an extremely generous cash donation from their parents. All I learned from those 2 hours on how to start a real estate company is to be born rich and have your parents give you money. I think the co-CEOs of Slate REIT, their brothers, they mentioned their first purchase was a $24 million building in Toronto. That's how they got their start. Yeah, I could be successful too if you give me money to buy a building. Starlight Investments CEO, this is a private REIT, he got a $1 million investment from his family in the 80s to buy real estate in the GTA. I know, okay, so this is taken slightly a little bit of a turn. I know this is different than lying and stealing, but these people were just born rich. You can't fault them for that. But what I can fault them for, I think this is why I'm salty and mad at rich people. They actively hold other people down. They actively hold poor or middle class people down. I notice this time and time again. They can take and make all the money, but everyone else can't have a penny. There's a REIT in Toronto, First Capital. They have around 300 employees, and I think they had a wage freeze during COVID. It was 2 years. They froze all employees' wages. Nobody got increases except the C-suite. How crazy is that? The people at the top made sure nobody below them got more money. No one got more money except them. They're the people that need the money the least. The admin staff, let's say making 50K living in Toronto, they didn't get any raises, but the C-suite making 500K cash, maybe 250,000 extra in shares, they need every penny that they can get. I don't get it. Maybe it's a scarcity mentality. Why would I let some poor person make more money? What if they take it from me? What if I lose or miss out on money? I'm not too sure. I'm not at that level. I'm trying to read about greed. I found this conclusion from a recent research paper. We reason that increased resources and independence from others causes people to prioritize self-interest over others' welfare and perceive greed as positive and beneficial, which in turn gives rise to increased unethical behavior. That was a long run-on sentence. It's like money buys power and influence. Rich people think they are morally better. I deserve this. I can embezzle money from the government. Just look at the previous Governor General, Adrienne Clarkson. She had over $1 million of expenses. Some of them included like nail salons and jackets, and she still expenses over $100,000 a year to the taxpayers, even though she doesn't work anymore. There are tax loopholes, so someone making $1 million in theory can pay less tax as a percentage of their total income than someone making 75K, giving them more after-tax dollars to invest or take chances or start businesses. It's like a rigged Monopoly game. One player gets to roll twice while everyone gets to roll once. They're not doing it better because they're smarter. They're not successful because they're smarter or work harder. Okay, so I read this article. I'll throw it up on the screen somewhere. Successful entrepreneurs don't have a special gene for risk. They come from families with money. Of course, I could start a successful business if I could bug my family members to pay for my living expenses and invest in my company while I got the business off the ground. I get asked this a lot on this channel. Why don't I just quit accounting and do something else like trade or start another business? Well, it's because I don't have someone to rely on if things go wrong. I can't just risk $200,000 to get a startup off the ground, and it might go straight into the ground. It means, there's a chance that I could invest $200,000 of my own money, take a loan from the bank, and then lose everything. It's a high chance the first year of your business. I believe like 90% fail. So I don't know where do I go from here? How do I end this video? I know I veered a little bit from lying and stealing to just my frustration with people born rich. Like recently I met a venture capitalist. She was super young. She invested in real estate companies. I asked how she got started. How does a 28-year-old or 29-year-old become a venture capitalist? Where did the money come from? I didn't get a proper answer. I found out her dad is the founder and CEO of a $1 billion REIT in Canada. I think the net worth was $14 billion when I Googled the family. Again, I don't know how to end this. I think I work hard. I make decent income. A lot of my friends do as well. Like they're all in, partners of accounting firms. But after tax, retirement savings, and living expenses, it's rough. Anything above $125,000 in Ontario is taxed at like 46%. Anything above $200,000, I believe, is taxed 50%. So how do people get ahead? Not everyone can have a breakout idea or super successful business. I know some people can, not everyone can. Look at COVID. Even if you had a successful coffee shop or restaurant, you were forced to close for a year. You were forced to spend all this money and take all these cuts and hits to your business and savings. You could have done everything right, but you were still forced to close. I think I'm going to end it here before I keep rambling. This is going to be a short one. Maybe I'll do a part 2 depending on the comments or if people have any questions. Thanks for watching and tune into the next one.